And the winner of the previous reviews contest is...
Hello Cinema Lovers, I'm Viola,
Hello, I'm Kevin.
the big screen. Today, with the beautiful day, we would like to do another review.
Guys, today we have another review special for you, and as we have done before a review of Polish movie and one movie recommended by one of you, today is time for a Spanish movie. And today the movie that we have is Mar Adentro.
In English, The Sea Inside.
Mar adentro, mar adentro, y en la ingravidez del fondo, donde se cumplen los sueños, se juntan dos voluntades para cumplir un deseo. Un beso enciende la vida con un relámpago y un trueno, y en una metamorfosis mi cuerpo ya no es ya mi cuerpo, es como penetrar al centro del universo, al abrazo más pueril y al más puro de los besos, hasta vernos reducidos en un único deseo. Tu mirada y mi mirada como un eco repitiendo sin palabras, más adentro, hasta el más allá del todo por la sangre y por los huesos. Pero me despierto siempre y siempre quiero estar muerto para seguir con mi boca enredada en tus cabellos.
The title, Mar Adentro, in English, The Sea Inside, is a Spanish movie from 2004, directed by Alejandro Amenábar, screenwriter Alejandro Amenábar and Mateo Gil. Cast: famous Spanish actors as Javier Bardem and Belén Rueda.
Awards, various awards, many nominations, and some of the most important ones in the Oscars of the year 2004, Best Foreign Language Movie, plus 2 nominations. In the year 2005, nominated for César for the Best Foreign Language Picture. Golden Globes, Best Foreign Language Film, plus 2 nominations. And also in the famous Spanish Goya Award from the year 2004, record of 14 Goya Awards, including Best Movie, Director and Actor, plus 15 nominations.
The movie brings to life debate about assisted suicide and assisted death, and is showing also the quality of life person with disability, with physical disability, but mentally health. How he chose death, not to live, and how people reacted also at this situation. And what is really important also to mention that because this movie took place in more or less in 90s, it was 1998 when the real person decided to die, and in that time it was taboo, and we can say that nowadays is also really difficult topic to talk about. Now it's time for a secret file.
Today in the Secret Files we will talk about the life of Ramon Sampedro. Ramon Sampedro Camean is actually his totally complete real name. Ramon Sampedro Camean is the protagonist of the movie of today of Mar Adentro. Actually, he was a writer and a sailorman, and the story that we see in the movie is based in true events. So it's based in the drama of the life of Ramon Sampedro. Actually, Ramon Sampedro had a big, quite dramatic life. Actually, if you will see the movie, you will appreciate why I'm saying that, because actually he suffered when he was 25 years old a really complicated accident, a diving accident that changed totally his life. Before, he was a typical sailorman that, as he mentions in the movie, he wanted to travel all around the world. He lived many experiences. Also, he had a really specific and charismatic personality. And in that moment, when he was 25 years old, one dramatic afternoon, he was next to some cliffs, next to the place where he was living, in a small Galician coast town. And in those cliffs, he was like thinking about jumping to the water. He was conscious, he knew properly the conditions of the sea, but in that day he was kind of confused. And as he mentions also in the movie, he describes a situation of confusion that day. He was thinking in things, kind of distract, and when he jumped to the water, suddenly he realized that he was in the air and that he couldn't change anything. He tried to jump and finish in the best conditions, but the water level was so low and he hit his head through the floor of the water, and he finished quadriplegic. And actually he was lucky or unlucky, depending on the point of view. In his point of view, totally unlucky, because there was somebody to save him from the death, because he could have been get death drowning. And since that moment, since he was 25 years old until the date when he decided to finish with his life, it passed almost 30 years, so imagine 30 years in the bed without any mobility, only the possibility of moving his head, and with the necessity of being attended all the time. Actually, Ramon Sampedro, while the years was passing, he started thinking that the best for him was to finish his life. And actually, this was totally historical. In Spain, he was the first person asking for the euthanasia in Spain. Of course, Spain wasn't ready for this, and it was really polemic situation. Of course, every Spanish judge dismissed his case because it was totally against the law, and still, as you know, in many European countries is illegal, the euthanasia. And it got even his case quite international, because he was even asking for him right of taking care of his own life in the way that he wanted, even to the European Commission. He went to Strasbourg, but of course got dismissed the case. As he mentions in the movie, for him the life is a right and not an obligation. And that's why he finally created a kind of plan that actually it wasn't known for almost of the people after a few years after he got died, because there was a video that he published a few seconds before he was drinking some poison in a glass, and everything was thanks, like it appears in the movie also, thanks to a woman that was helping him in his last moments of his life. And actually a few years later, more or less in the time when this movie was published, Mar Adentro, this woman went to the television to an interview, and in this interview she confessed that she was helping Ramon to finish his life, and that everything was part of a plan that he had planned since many time ago, but she wanted to give him a good ending. And also we need to mention that the movie Mar Adentro is called Mar Adentro in honor, in tribute of one of his poems, because also he was like a kind of poet, and it was the part of the title of this poem. Now let's continue with our program, and the next step are the bloopers.
In the movie, approximately around 1 hour and a half, when Javier Bardem is wearing black clothes, we can see that in 1 second his pillow where he has a head is smaller, and few seconds later is much more bigger. And now let's go to the good or bad luck.
Today in Good or Bad Luck we will talk about Javier Bardem. Javier Bardem, remember, that was the clue that we gave in the last review. Javier Bardem actually is, I would say nowadays, is one of the most representative Spanish actors and one of the most famous ones abroad, but he had, like every actor, different kind of steps in his career. Let's start since the beginning. Javier Bardem got born in the year 1969 in the Canary Islands, and actually the interpretation wasn't nothing new for him, because he comes from a family of actors. And he started really early. When he was just 4 years old, he performed his first role in the screen, but not in the cinema. He started in the television with the TV series El Pícaro in the year 1974. And when he was 11 years old, he appeared for the first time in a movie with the movie El Poderoso Influjo de la Luna. We are already in the 90s. During the 90s, he started appearing more and more in the Spanish cinema, so his face started getting more and more known. And actually, always we can say a kind of pattern in the movies that he has been performing, because his physical appearance allows him always to become part of the role of the typical aggressive guy, the typical criminal, the typical rude guy that appears in this kind of movies. And some of the examples of this kind of role that he has been performing was during the 90s with the famous Spanish movies, typical style of Spanish movies with this kind of role, like for example Las Edades de Lulu or Jamón Jamón. In that movies he started becoming more and more famous in a national way. But afterwards, after the year 2000, he performed two movies that definitely, this is the point where his career started getting more and more high. So definitely good luck for Javier Bardem in this point, because with the movie Los Lunes al Sol first in the year 2003 and afterwards in the year 2004 with this movie, Mar Adentro, he definitely hit the jackpot and became one of the most important Spanish actors, and it was the last step before going through the international movies. After those two important movies that definitely was an inflection point in his career, after the year 2006 he started becoming more international and making other international movies abroad, and especially it was really good the year 2008 for him, because there he was performing roles in movies like for example Vicky Cristina Barcelona, made by Woody Allen, where he was performing roles with international actresses like for example Scarlett Johansson or Penelope Cruz, and that movie also get quite a repercussion, winning different kind of Oscars. But this is the important fact of his career, and this is definitely the super good luck for Javier Bardem, because in this year, in the year 2008, with the movie No Country for Old Men, he won the Oscar to the best secondary actor, and he became the first Spanish actor in the history winning an Oscar. So this was also one of the clues, if you remember, from the previous review. Here it goes, another important good luck for Javier Bardem, and a kind of curiosity and a kind of tribute also for his career. In the year 2012, he got his personal star in the Walk of the Fame of Hollywood. And since that moment, still he's performing the role of the bad guy in many movies, but in a more international way. Like for example, we can see himself in movies like Skyfall, performing the role of the antagonist, of the bad guy, the enemy of James Bond, or for example even in the Pirates of Caribbean fighting against Johnny Depp. Did you like this compilation about the life of Javier Bardem? So let's get some more extra information in the gossip side.
The best friends of Javier is Scarlett Johansson and Daniel Craig. He recognized himself as atheist. His middle name is Angel. Javier's wife is Penelope Cruz, and actually it's a really interesting story because they start having sexual scenes in one movie, Jamón Jamón, in 90s, and almost 20 years later, in 2010, they got married, they have kids, and they are living in Los Angeles. He left rugby, him real passion for the interpretation.
We are in the end of our program, and now, like always, it's time for our final valuation. This time I will start with the sounds of the nature behind us, covering a little bit the sound. And let's go to the point. I think that this time I will give to the movie an 8, because it has been for me so touching movie. I think that Alejandro Amenábar is, at least since my perspective, the best Spanish director. All of his movies, you can see also the identity that he tries to give, the way that is recorded. In this movie, I can mention at least 3 or 4 epic scenes that definitely it catch your heart, and it shows you so sensitive point. And also, I think that the performance of Javier Bardem was absolutely epic. And I think also that this movie, even if is based in the life of Ramon Sampedro, Alejandro Amenábar tried to give him all him perspective and him poetry point of view, but at the same time respecting the art that also Ramon Sampedro did, writing him letters and him poems and so on. So I think that 8 points by my side.
For me, this movie was actually the one of the best ones that I watched about the disabilities, physical disabilities. I was totally touched. I was crying since the middle of the movie. For me, it was, like I said, touchable. I felt really good role of the Javier Bardem, and I think that from me, I could give 9 points.
So the media by the big screen, in this case, this movie goes up the rating, so 8.5 by the big screen. And now to finish, finally with the last section, like we introduced in the last review, it's time for Who is Who.
Today in the section Who is Who, we'll give you 3 clues. First one, he is a Hungarian director. Second one, this movie that we'll review next time, he directed with his wife Agnes Hranicki. And the third clue, in 2005, in the Festival of Cannes, he won the award of the Best Foreigner Director.
So like always, if you know the answer, try to write it here below, try to be the first one answering, don't hesitate and write here the answer. And like always, in the next review of the next video, we will mention your name and you will be like the winner of the contest. And now, like always, it's time to say goodbye, but before we would like to ask you for some likes. Don't forget also to subscribe here down below. We need to see how the project continue having support and to prepare different kind of material for you. So I think that's all for today. See you in the next video.
See you. Goodbye.
Bye.